Charlie Parker didn't know anybody until Joe Jonas threw a symbol at his head.
So that's your idea of success, huh?
I think being the greatest musician of the 20th century is anybody's idea of success.
Dying broke and drunk and full of heroin at the age of 34 is not exactly my idea of success.
I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34 and have people at a dinner table talk about me than live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody remember who I was.
All right, gang, whiplash.
I can play it, okay?
Said not now! If you want the fucking part, earn it.
Let's do this here real quick. Let's go over this. Let's go over the markets here. First thing we're gonna go over is let's go over news. We're up right now on every single trade. We are in massive profits here. Okay. It's been a good week this week. That's all I can say. It's been a really good week this week here. So let's go over what's working. Let's go over the charts here. Okay. I appreciate all y'all. Give me a second. Okay, so let's break it all down here. One thing I'm taking a look at is let's look at news here. Core PCE came out higher than expected, very bearish for markets. PPI bearish for markets here. The market is fearing inflation. Okay, why is the market fearing inflation? Oil. Okay, this crisis that's happening overseas with the Iran war now coming into play. Okay, we have to be very, very aware and study how Iran is working right now, how Iran is doing. The reason why is because the more that the Strait of Hormuz is still closed to this day, the longer this thing is closed, the higher oil gets, and the more likely the economy crashes. Okay? Israel bombs South Pars, largest natural gas of the entire planet. It supplies 70% of Iran's gas. Iran gave one warning before that: touch our energy infrastructure, will destroy Qatar's LGN complex. Then they followed through tonight. Wow, they're trying to destroy the world's oil. RS Lafan supplies 20% of one location. South Pars supply reserves with Qatar's North Field. Both energy giants hit in one day. UAE intercepted 13 more ballistic missiles, 27 more drones today. Qatar hosts the airbase. We didn't stop one single missile from hitting the site. What does that tell you about who actually controls the Gulf? Iran did not accidentally hit Qatar. Qatar was supposed to be neutral. Israeli killed top security advisor this week. Huh. Interesting. Where's oil right now? Oil right now is being suppressed. Wednesday, I called buys at 2 a.m. It hit our buy zone and our re-entry zone and then went to the upside. Wow. My re-entry zone literally came right in at the absolute bottom here. Very important for us because the more we see oil take hits, like the infrastructure get destroyed, the more likely oil stays above 100 a barrel. Right now, the administration is doing everything in their power to try to suppress the price of oil, but there's not much they can do. We've unlocked the largest reserves ever in US history to be able to suppress oil. And right now that isn't working. So we have to be very careful here. Whatever happens next could really, really shake things up, guys. So we definitely want to pay attention to this. And the more news that I see being breaking.
What would happen?
You know, the Israelis, again, they have they have the ability to go out and collect great intelligence. They have a very capable military, but they're a very small country. I think Israel would be able to defend itself. I think it could conduct, limited strikes on its borders. I think it could continue carrying out pretty impressive targeted assassinations.
Yes.
Against its adversaries, and so I think you would see it relatively contained. What it couldn't do is go topple
really
entire
bad.
governments. It couldn't do something like the Iran War, the Iraq War. It couldn't aggressively destabilize Syria.
So CPI and PPI are different. This is for businesses. Businesses are already seeing some type of economic pressure here, and we haven't even seen the full effects yet. I'm only curious how the next PPI numbers next month are going to be. I think markets are going to be bearish all month, guys. This is the top. I think we're going to have a real big spill in May because the fact that January, February, March has been bearish, this reminds me of 2022. The biggest quarters are January, February, March. If we don't have a bullish S&P in January, February, March, even April, we're fucked. Because once July and June come, that's when markets hit a low. Okay, so I'm bearish. I might just hold my Bitcoin position sells all the way down. I might not actually take profit on my Bitcoin sells. I'm very happy where they are. I might hold these BTC sells till Bitcoin goes to 40,000. That honestly is where I'm thinking Bitcoin's gonna go. Yeah, wow. This is really crazy, and I'm looking for more SPX sells, and I might hold that SPX position probably till next month if this keeps going the way it's going and the war doesn't get any better. This is probably one of the best swing trades I ever called out, probably this year.
Heavy lifts of regime change that America
because we probably got SPX at the high
engaged in, Israel could not do on their own, which is where you get back to the Israeli lobby being just so potent and so powerful and so aggressive.
So that, and I want to ask you about that because that's the line
federal
being attacked
funds rate,
for.
economic
so
projections,
I want to go
FOMC
through
statement.
and have you explain more fully, if you would, why you said what
the
you
biggest
did.
thing that.
But before I do that, one last question: was any of this debated that you know of before this war commenced 3 weeks ago? Did anyone say, "Well, wait a second, if we do this and kill the Ayatollah," because that was like the first order, I think. What are the effects after, and like what's the goal? Did these
they
debates
talked about
ever
inflation?
I know they happened heavily before the 12-day war. I think that when the Israelis came back around and said,
let's see the tone. Fed don't know what effects the present Middle East conflict will be, while knowing the U.S. economy is doing pretty well despite prevailing uncertainty. Powell does know. Okay, guys, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to know what's going to happen if the war in the Middle East continues. Okay, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist. Trump knows, Powell knows. They're not trying to freak out markets. They're not trying to tell you that they're going to hike rates if they're going to be forced to hike rates. They're not trying to have the market freak the hell out right now. The midterms, right? I think are still coming. They cannot afford. Just put yourself in their position. They have no choice to lie to you, okay, and to lie to us, right? Powell offered plans as the governor of the DOJ, truly well over. If wars were not confirmed by the Senate in a good time, as for the investigations concluded, Powell noted he has not yet made a firm decision regarding his plans. Okay, their target is still 2%. Still, policy tightening seems off the cards. Yeah, they're pretty fucked right now. So they want to they want to bring inflation low, but right now the job market's taking too much of a hit. They can't afford to hike rates. They can't. They really can't. But wow, look at their projections. This is bad. This is bad. Okay. This right here almost is a confirmed recession. We are in a almost damn near confirmed, maybe stagflation at this point, where the markets aren't going to, and look up the definition, guys, of stagflation. This is stagflation we're in right now, where right now commodities and prices of everything are going to go low, but also markets are going to go low, right? So inflation's going to keep going to the upside, while markets also drop. We are in the precipice of stagflation right now. No rate cuts here basically means a recession, okay? Now, how high of a recession, how tight, great recession, or is it just a small little mini recession like the silent recession in 2022? I don't know, but I'm expecting that, hey, 2026 here, 2 or 3, 4 quarters, two quarters are going to be a recession most likely. Our GDP is going to drop dramatically, most likely if we don't figure this out with Iran. Okay, and I don't think the world is talking about this just because the world doesn't understand fundamentals.
I just don't think there was any debate. I think just based on the ecosystem and the amount of influence.
But they just changed policy. Remember, guys, we were supposed to have a rate cut in July. There's no fucking rate cut now. That's not good. They're supposed to have a rate cut in December. We were supposed to go to 3 to even 2. Now there's not even that on the table right now after today's meeting. That is very bearish. That's why markets pulled back today.
Because in some ways, this is a little humiliating.
And what's crazy is we predicted a lot of this, right? I did say, you know, a lot of this was going to happen, right? And, you know, obviously our signal here is still valid that I gave out on the live session here. Currently, look at that from wick entries here. We're currently up about, you know, about 15,000 points here, right? This is a really, really good trade, right? So what I want you guys to be aware of is that a lot of this here, this big swing trade, the reason I called this was because it's just so easy to see, right? This is very easy to see. So again, a lot of profit taking is getting hit. A lot of good money being made on this swing trade. I want you guys to be aware of that. We called even sells here, you know, the other month. I called sells. When was this? This was last week or like at the beginning of the month. I called sells on US 30. NAS, we called sells. Russell, we called sells. Almost hit the stop loss today. Swipe of liquidity, but no stop loss hit. Sells on Russell. Okay, so I'm going to drop updates on all our trades here. And we've been giving these out, guys, for a very, very, very long time. Okay, this has been a really, really Just updating the chat. VIX is increasing. Yeah, we're about to go into some major with the VIX going this high. I could see us filling this gap. SPX is going to drop more. Gold looks like it might finally turn around, hopefully. It does have a lot of gaps that it needs to fill. The only way I see gold turning around, bonds are just running. The yields are increasing like crazy. So bond prices are going down right now. Out of fear, huh? Swipe of liquidity and then fear. And bond prices only go up when people taking money out of bonds. Usually bonds are safe places to dump their money. And the 10-year yield or even a 2-year yield. Oh, 2-year yields are dropping. Yeah, this is the 2-year yield. People are selling off bonds too, which is insane. Gold. Beautiful, beautiful gold, man. Wow, look at that. Huh. Look at that, bro. That shit is crazy. Okay. Wow, I wish I actually traded a little bit more this morning. I didn't trade this morning, guys. I've been really busy. This was a lot of money to be made today. Look at this. You had that break of structure below the Asian range today. Pull back to that indecision. Sell off, bro. One of the best sells that you could have caught today with a strategy, right? If you just follow my strategy, you would have made money on this. Easy. Break of structure, pull back, sell off. The market's afraid of deflation right now because of potential rate cuts, rate hikes coming. Wow, you're going to see gold drop dramatically. I even called today gold. One of my buddies was asking me for a favor to check gold for him. I said, hey, bro, we're most likely, if we break this, we're most likely going to go to 72. This is my target, 72. Wow. You want to know my thoughts with gold? Most likely going to sell off here. External sells. And we're just going to sell gold. To be honest, it's breaking structure, guys. So the next low is going to be here. This is an easy sell for tomorrow that we're going to be trading in the morning. But yeah, like most likely tomorrow is going to be a sell. Okay. I already see it. Internal sells somewhere here. Yeah, we're going to sell tomorrow. Let's look at USD CAD. CAD running, right? Been looking for this pullback that's not coming here. It's because Dixie's doing what we thought it was going to do, right? But I called it to come to this low here on Wednesday, hit it at 4, and then boom. It's going to pull back, guys, so I'm not concerned. Which means markets are going to recover. Tomorrow we're going to hit new lows, though. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to sell all assets. GU finally came back. I've been waiting for GU to come back. Did GU break? Ironically, I don't know what's going on with the... GU's probably going to move to the upside here. I'm in sells at Bitcoin at the top. That day that we called sells on Bitcoin, I'm still in sells on Bitcoin, guys. From Tuesday. I'm still on sells. I'm in heavy sells right now. I'm currently up on these sells. So I'm putting stop loss to break even. I'm currently up about, I'm down 4%. I mean, not down, but technically we sold off. And about 3,000 pips or in profit. If this is the high that I think I caught it at, I think we're gonna go to 41K. Okay. We're gonna trade tomorrow. Yeah, MSRT, I called more sells. Nvidia, shockingly, Nvidia's held price. Apple's holding price. Amazon's kind of holding. Google, Meta is down. Coinbase is down too. Coinbase is going to go lower. All right, guys, we will trade tomorrow. We'll see how tomorrow goes. This is just a quick update here on how I'm looking at markets to trade tomorrow's New York session here. I am going to be trading New York session pretty well tomorrow. Trump said America would win fast, but Iran is still firing 2,000 drones using Russian satellites. And Russia has zero consequences because Trump lifted Russia's oil sanctions. While Russia helps Iran kill Americans, the oil is now $103 a barrel, which funds Russia's war in the Ukraine. So America's literally funding Russia while Russia kills Americans. Here's what's coming next. China's officially pushing for NATO-style allegiance with Russia, North Korea, and Iran. And Russia hasn't fired a single bullet. This is like the parties working together. Damn.
Is a house of cards. You find the weak point and you hit it so it all collapses. Okay? And that's why Iran is doing what it's doing. And what this also tells us is this: there can be no ceasefire, there can be no truce, there can be no peace, because both the American empire and Iran are fighting for the nature and structure of reality itself. All right? And the third thing I want you guys to be aware of is this. Remember in Plato's allegory with the cave, they really don't have to do anything because the prisoners themselves want to protect the system. Well, this is true as well, where if you are in education, media, and culture, and you are at the very top, you are not in power, but you benefit from the system. And therefore, you insist on protecting the system at all costs. And these people, of course, are called the boomers. Okay? Okay, not all of them, okay, but the elite of the boomers, even though they themselves don't have that much power, there's a lot of them, okay? And they will fight, they will make their politics.
Okay, so if we close here like this on the weekly this week, guys, we're done. SPX is dropping to 4650, most likely 4200, most likely. Then we'll go back up, which would be a total on an SPX drop of about 12%, which is realistic. I could see this happen. If that happens, we're gonna look for a big pullback, sell, and it's gonna be the sell of the century. Okay, we're gonna sell all assets too, while everybody else loses money buying SPX out of stupidity, and loses money probably buying Bitcoin, because everybody knows Bitcoin's probably gonna go to 40K here. All right, guys, great call. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one, guys. Peace.